How to use debt to build wealth? I mean, this is a question that very few people ask because they feel like conflicting ideas. You're different though, because you see that most people strive to be debt-free, like it's a badge of honor. But then you kind of look and see what they've got. You see what the result is. Per the Department of Health and Human Services, 99% of the population, specifically today's retirees 65 years and older, aren't making it with that plan. So if you want to join the 1%, those that do make it, you've got to do what they do, and that's using debt to create wealth. Because here's the deal. Most people just don't make enough to save enough to get to where they want to go. So you've got to use other people's money to do it. That's what's going to get you there. So I'm going to break down first the difference between good debt and bad debt. The second, I'm going to share with you the ideal asset for the average person to use their debt on. And 3, the actual steps of how you can pull it off for you and your financial independence. All right, let's get into it. Good debt, bad debt, because they are distinct. Most people think debt is a 4-letter word, and it is not. Well, actually, I guess it is, but there is a distinction. Bad debt. That's what most people consider debt to be, and that would be true if we were only talking about, say, credit cards when you go on shopping sprees, or you're going out to eat, or you're financing your vacations. Those are forms of bad debt. That's the type of debt that actually costs you. But good debt, if you use that in a way for assets that actually pay you, specifically those assets pay you more than what the debt costs you to use, that is good debt. So the ideal asset for most people to use their debt on would be real estate. And that's kind of weird for people because real estate kind of has a reputation of being risky, and debt has a reputation for being risky. And the truth is, neither one of them are risky, particularly if they're used together. And I'll start with real estate. When we talk about real estate, if it were so risky, then it would have never have created more wealth for more people than anything else on the planet. If it is risky, it's the least riskiest of all investment options. It's not the real estate that's risky, it's typically the people involved that make it risky. There's no such thing as a bad investment, just uneducated investors. Now when it comes to debt, with that being risky, yes, it can be. But if you're using your debt on the safest investment there is, and that investment pays you more than the debt costs you, there's really no way that you can lose. Again, it's not the debt that's risky, it's not the real estate that's risky, it's the people involved that make it risky. So you want to be educated about your investments, about your asset class. Now before I show you how this works, if you're still open to using debt to build wealth, let me know by clicking the like button. And subscribe to the channel because I post cool, creative, money-making ideas like this each and every week, and you don't want to miss it. All right, so here's how it works. We've got 2 scenarios. We're going to look at 2 different houses that are identical. They're exactly the same. The only thing that's going to be different is how we acquire them. So the house on the left, just like the house on the right, is worth $100,000. That's its value. Same with this one on the right over here. $100,000, and they both rent for $1,000 a month. And just for the sake of efficiency, we'll say that they actually cash flow $500 a month. Now the distinction here is how we're going to acquire these properties and what the end result will be. So this property on the left, we will use no debt to buy this one. The property over here, we're going to go to a bank and get a traditional loan. So let's say we put $25,000 down on this property, and the bank is going to give us the rest, $75,000. We're borrowing that. We're going to use that debt to build wealth. So now let's calculate the return on investment, the ROI. And this is how we do that. Just for simplicity's sake, we're going to take our cash flow. We need the annual cash flow amount. So $500 times 12 months is going to give us $6,000. Now to calculate our ROI, we're going to divide that by the amount of money we put into the deal. So since we paid cash for this property, we did not use debt, we put $100,000 into it. So we'll take the $6,000, divide it by $100,000. And that gives us an ROI of 6%. Not too shabby, right? Now let's look at this over here. We've got this property, and our cash flow is still $500, but we have debt on it. So for simplicity's sake, we'll just say the debt to pay on this $75,000 that we borrowed is going to be $300. So that's going to give us a cash flow of $200. We're going to multiply that by 12 because we need the annual income, and then that'll give us $24,000. Now, just like over here, we divide our annual income by how much money we put into the deal. We're going to do the same over here. So how much did we put into this deal? We didn't put in $100,000, right? We only put in $25,000. So we'll divide this by the $25,000 that we put in. And that gives us an ROI of 9.6%. Almost 4% more just because we used leverage, because we used debt to build our wealth. So this is going to grow faster on this side than it would this side. But what's more is we've only used $25,000. If we started each scenario with $100,000 to spend, we still have over here $75,000 of cash left. Couldn't we do this 3 more times? So now we've got the 9.6% being produced on 4 different properties. And over time, when you factor in appreciation and the deductions and the amortization, it's exponentially greater over here. This is why debt builds wealth so much faster than no debt. So now as you hold on to these properties, appreciation is going to do its thing as well. So they'll both appreciate equally, but what's going to happen over here since you're using debt is that each time there's enough appreciation that happens and there's enough additional equity that's been added because of appreciation, you can refinance, borrow that money out, and go buy even more. And you can let this property, because you use debt, and you can continue to use debt, that it keeps buying more and more property. But is it you buying the property? No, it's your tenant that's paying you your rent every month. That's who's buying your property. Your tenant built your wealth. Over here, you did. And if you're really serious about using debt to create wealth, it might make sense for you and I to hop on the phone. Go ahead and take a look over at reiace.com, answer a few short questions, and then after you've answered those, you'll have the opportunity to pick a time that's convenient for you for us to hop on the phone and start brainstorming some ideas about what it would look like for us to work together. That's over at reiace.com, and I'll also put that link down below in the description for you. So what did you find most useful? Share with me down in the comments below. And who else do you know that needs to see this? When their name comes to mind, please share it with them. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.